drugs. I don't do drugs. I got nothing against drugs. I got nothing against drugs. I think it's a personal choice. Just like alcohol, just like cigarettes. As long as that personal choice does not infringe upon the freedoms of another person's personal choice. Really, that's the end of the story. That's called logic. It'll help you.
And in fact, in one of your books, you take on the FDA. And I can't find it right now, but what do you say about the FDA?
Well, I spent a number of years studying the FDA. It was my major research interest for several years during the mid-1990s especially, and I've followed it to some extent ever since. I think the FDA is probably better than any other government agency. An example of fraud. The FDA purports to use scientific studies and scientific information and scientific decision-making in order to make sure that no one places on the market products, drugs, medical devices, other products that are unsafe or ineffective for their indicated usage. This is something of a joke, and everybody who reads the newspapers ought to know it. Can you say Vioxx? Can you say any number of other drugs that have been approved by the FDA and yet turned out to be immensely harmful? So the FDA's so-called gold standard seal of approval is as bogus as any gold standard seal could get. Again, this has given people a false sense of security. They feel that they're protected when they're really not. But at the same time, because of the incentives FDA bureaucrats have to not place a Vioxx type product on the market, their typical procedure is to be very, very cautious, slow, demand more information, more studies, and as a result, products that are potentially extremely useful and valuable in relieving disease and saving lives are often held off the market for 10 to 15 years awaiting FDA approval. This is a tragedy. It's the kind of regulation that has cost, it seems likely, hundreds of thousands of excess deaths and countless amounts of human suffering in this country. So unfortunately, the public believes in the FDA more than it believes in almost any other government agency, and it's extremely unfortunate that it does so because this has been a lethal regulatory agency.